Well, hello everybody. Here we are awaiting the arrival of the late great Bob Andrews, Bobby T. I don't know what time he'll get here, but if he don't get here before I get done talking, I'll go home without him. A little cold, and this place has not been warmed up, so I'm wearing my coat. You better put your dogs under the house and your chickens in the chicken house, and cover up all your potted plants, or take them in, cover up. Well, it's just time to start thinking winter, because it has arrived. And the late great Bob Andrews has arrived.
I got clobbered as soon as I got there.
I just started.
All right.
I figured I'd get it warmed up.
All right, yeah, warm it up. Hello, folks.
What's going on, Bobby T?
Oh, I don't know. I've been up in the country watching the snow this morning, and you know how it goes.
You're going to pull it too.
I said, like I say, the only thing contenders grows my feet.
Looks like you got some new breeches.
Oh man, yeah, I'm something else, you know.
I reckon you are.
Man gets one new pair of dungarees a year, you know.
How's your goats? How's your goats?
My goats, fat.
I've decided that if they can't eat it or stand on it, they'll rub their horns on it and butt it.
I'll tell you, I have got one jewel of a dog that when I took home with me.
I'll have to come out and steal her.
Last night had some wind.
Yeah.
And I've got some fence that's made, had some petitions I stood up to make a fence to fence them out of my doorway.
Had some what stood up?
Some petitions.
Okay.
And they were just kind of there precariously balanced, you know. Well, I got up this morning and there was 3 of them down, a big opening in the fence. And guess who was laying there daring the goats to come out?
Elka?
Elka was there daring the goats to come out. And she's the best thing I got. Well, she won't jump up on you. She'll come and lay down, let you pet her, or she'll sit for you. And she understands almost as good as Rambo.
Rambo was a smart dog.
Yeah. I believe, in some ways, she is a little bit more, maybe not any smarter, but she's a little bit more obedient.
I think Rambo, I still got my garbage over there and it's a stinking.
Yeah, well, I noticed that. You know what was it? They've done a study. They're doing all these studies about how much methane gas your bovines put out.
Yeah.
You know.
And they're going to melt the earth, ain't they?
Right, and you know, they come up with all these studies that and different ways to have them eat stuff that cuts down on the methane-producing bacteria that's in their.
What do they figure out? Just feed them meat?
Right.
Don't feed them meat, are they?
No. I forget what all they concocted. And I got to thinking, probably the greatest source of methane gas that escapes into the air is that bubbles up from the ocean.
I was thinking it come out of Washington, D.C., but...
Well, yeah, it's true too, but it doesn't smell as good what comes out up there as methane gas does. But I really believe, you know, they say there are giant bubbles of methane gas that they've seen escape down in the waters off of Florida, and I'm sure elsewhere, that as these billions of tons of plankton die and fall to the bottom, and as they, whatever they do,
they rot.
As they rot, and they produce all this methane gas. But what does methane gas do when it gets in the atmosphere?
Well, it makes global warming worse, of course.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was industrialization.
What about that there? No, it's SUVs. What about that there gas bubble they had over there? And was it Bhopal, India?
Well, you know,
That killed the whole village.
Union Carbide is the only entity that killed more Indians than John Wayne.
Yeah, I guess so.
He killed 2,500, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was, I'm talking about they had a natural gas escape over there and killed a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were talking about one Union Carbide plant that exploded over there.
Yeah, that may have been in Bhopal.
Yeah, it was at Bhopal, I think.
Let's see.
Yeah, check it out and see what we got. We've got so many natural occurrences that these jarhead, and I don't want to call that because you call them marine a jarhead, they're not equal to a jarhead. These rockheads, no, that puts too bad a light on rocks. I don't know what kind of, maybe it's a head you find in a ship. That's what kind of head they got.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move that garbage. You
Huh?
just keep talking. I'm going to move that garbage.
Okay,
Before it gets us to-
that come up with all of these theories. You know, the Democrats come up with something, and then they said, well, if it's no good, let's get the Republicans to refine it and make it work. Now, why should they think the Republicans would want to make Obamacare work?
They're going to.
Huh?
They're going to.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what's the Supreme Court Justice's name?
John Roberts.
Yeah. He rewrote that law about 3 or 4 times before he got it right. So, you know, we said a long time ago that the less government does, the better off the people are. And all these people that run for election saying what all they're going to do when they get up there, I don't want to vote for them. I'm good mind to run for president and say, what are you going to do when you get to be president? Absolutely nothing. You going to play golf? No, I ain't going to play golf. Are you going to have a beer summit? No, I'm not going to have a beer summit. Are you going to call up the Prime Minister of Iran? No, I'm not going to call anybody. In fact, it's going to have the telephone taken out of the Oval Office. You know when the first telephone was put in the Oval Office?
McKinley?
Hmm?
Was it under McKinley?
No.
Who?
It may have been McKinley.
Well, I can't find that gas thing. Let's look up the telephone.
You look up Bhopal. All right, well, folks, we're looking to see what we can come up with since let's see, there we go. That was Bhopal disaster.
Yeah, but that ain't the right one. There was one over there where it was a natural thing. It was a pond that had some gas come out and bubbled up and killed a whole bunch of people. I saw it in India. It's been 30 years, I guess.
Right.
Rutherford B. Hayes.
Rutherford B. Hayes, all right. Wonder who he called who didn't go nowhere, but
I don't know. Who you calling? You the only one got a phone.
that's about the truth. We should have put him on a party. I bet you, why in the world?
I know he called. Called Lum and Abner to jot him down store.
Why in the world would NASA want to start spying on everybody when all they had to do was just pass a law that everybody had to have a party telephone line, and then you could learn everything about everybody.
Well, I thought I got rid of the party line, but now the NSA has took it over. They've refined it, made a science out of it.
Right. So Rutherford B. Hayes, which was what, when was Rutherford B. Hayes? 1840 something?
No. Rutherford Hayes was,
80s?
yeah, let's see here.
Was he in between,
1877.
okay.
He went in 76.
How about that?
Well, let's see now. Here is a diagramming the sentencing and the Second Amendment.
All right, now
Under subjects, got a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the state, of a free state. Okay. The predicate says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The Second Amendment confirms the existence of an individual right that can be exercised by the people in a collective manner. And it just proves that the people have the right that is mentioned. This is by A.C. Brock, teacher of advanced English, a foremost expert in grammar, from former senior editor for Mifflin. So, the sentence means that the people are the militia. Well, I already knew that. That's right. That's plain as you get. It's a shame them people up there on the Supreme Court don't have somebody up there that could read, you know it? I mean, you don't need a law degree. They go get these Ivy League people. You don't have to be a lawyer to be a Supreme Court justice. You just have to be able to read. You just got one document to interpret. You don't need the wisdom of the rest of the world. You don't need to compare it to the interpretation they give it in.
Now, it's good when you have a constitutional question to be able to go back and research what has been done or what has been said or what was put to the test regarding that particular problem that's come up.
It's good.
But at the same time, after all that's said and done, it's what that Supreme Court justice says, that's what goes.
Yeah, and it's good to be able to go back and see what the historical intent of a certain passage might be, but when you get right down to it, it's supposed to go with what's written down, not what somebody thinks is written down.
Well, that's true, but you know, Supreme Court justice is like an umpire in the baseball game. You know, he may slide into third base, as Dizzy Dean would say, and get there before the ball, and the umpire calls him out. He's still out.
I know.
And that's the way it is with the Supreme Court justice and their attempt to...
I don't agree.
What?
That's similar. For this reason, I don't agree. When you get down to the judgment of the umpire, whether the guy got the third or not first, that is an operational determination. The rules don't change. The rules say that if you get tagged between bases, you're out. Then they're not trying to change the rules. The umpire don't change the rules.
No,
he might have an opinion. He may see something different than everybody else, but he don't change the rules. And the Supreme Court changes the rules.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah, they make the rules too. Yeah. If there are no rules, they make the rules.
Yeah, they don't interpret what they see. It's not a difference of opinion on what's going on. They really have changed the meaning of what's in black and white.
Right, that's very true. And that it should not be that way. That's the reason I think you need just some good old plain folks who can read and write to sit on the Supreme Court.
And get rid of them Ivy League.
I think half of them should be people who come out of the private sector and are not lawyers.
I agree with you. We need to get lawyers out of Washington completely.
Right. True.
Well, now you cannot. Everybody's up for term limits, and they want a term limit Congress, term limit Senate, but you can't do that without a constitutional amendment.
No, you can't do what?
You can't term limit without changing the Constitution.
Well, no, I don't think you can either.
I'm for term limits.
Huh?
But I'm for term limits, but it takes more than a law, I think.
Well, you talking about on the House of Representatives.
And,
Now,
and the Senate, too.
I think the Senate, well, I don't know exactly what leeway they have. I know they have a big leeway the state does as to how they decide who's going to be a senator.
Not anymore, they don't.
Well,
They used
under
to.
the Constitution.
Yeah,
they
but
do.
they changed it with the 17th Amendment.
I don't know.
But they went from state appointments to direct election for senators with the Constitutional Amendment. That was back under whenever Teddy Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson destroyed the Constitution.
I believe you're right.
But now here's the thing: it may be that the states could set term limits on their individual members. I don't know.
I don't either. I'm not that
It
well
may well
versed.
be that the state of Tennessee could say our congressman can only go to Washington for a maximum of 6 years or 3 terms, and our senators can only go to Washington for 1 or 2 terms, either 6 or 12 years. They might be able to do that on a state-to-state basis. I don't know.
Well, I believe that.
But I doubt it'd already be done.
Possibly. But you know, I just wonder, since the election of the senator is a state election,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a federal election, that if the state probably wouldn't have some recourse to decide that.
Well, I don't know, but I don't believe that you can limit terms on the Senate or Congress, either one, without a constitutional amendment. I don't believe you can.
You might be right. And you know, it's just a foregone conclusion when an incumbent runs, he's going to get reelected.
Well, he's got an
In
advantage.
most cases.
You know, John McCain says he says that they're wanting him to run for Congress. Run for Senate again. Run for president again.
Said he would.
He says people are wanting him to run for president again.
Oh yeah, the Democrats.
Yeah.
Democrats are wanting John McCain to run.
They know they can beat him, don't they? Well, we've got a good one or two, I'd say that.
Right.
Well, anything else going on, Bobby T?
Well, no, I just, I'll go home by the way of White Bridge most of the time. And, they have a speed limit there of 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And nearly every time I go out through there and I make 25 miles an hour, some guy in a late model, not the same guy, but somebody in a late model pickup truck passes me just right after I get off the bridge and goes barreling up through there at about 45, 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's, I try to slow down. Are those yours?
Yeah.
How about that? You need to plant them something to eat.
Well, I know. They're hard up, ain't they?
Yeah, they are.
Well, whenever they get this part right here mowed, I'll show you there in a minute. Who you reckon this guy is that's trying to run over you, Bob?
What?
Who is this guy that's in such a hurry?
It's not the same guy.
Oh.
But everybody that I come up to there, I slow down to between 25 and 30, you know, and try to go up through there and observe the traffic because I'm not in that big a hurry. And as soon as I get off, sometime before I get off the bridge here, they go around me giving me dirty looks.
Yeah.
Because I'm driving the speed limit.
Yeah, I have that problem a lot. Now, when they get that right there mowed, I'm going to turn loose on something big.
Oh, Lord, they got it made, hadn't they?
Yeah, they're filling out right good, too, ain't they?
Right, yeah. Pretty good sized boys.
There's an old 14-year-old dog.
there's your goat herding dog.
Yeah, that's who it is.
The little one ain't exactly little anymore, is he?
He's not caught up to the other one yet. Never will, don't look like.
Right. We'll have to take some pictures of those out at my house. You know, they whenever they hear me move here, they come down. They think I'm gonna give them a handful of feed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And but they are like yours. They're fat. They got so much to eat that it's just I need a couple more to work on it.
I could feed 2 or 3 more.
I believe you could. I believe you could. I was talking to a man yesterday about how to make those goats lose their standing in the community.
Yeah.
And he said it's just like doing it with a cow. I said, well, I've never cut a cow. I said I have cut hogs, but I've never cut a cow.
You can't. A cow ain't got nothing to work on.
I'm talking about a
bull.
bull.
Okay.
A bull, yeah. A bull's a cow to me.
Okay. Well, now you know you wouldn't get along too good as a animal husbandry guy.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, just like
okay. He said you could do it just like a pig, so you can run them on the barrel and turn them upside down. Somebody spread his legs, go to work.
Well, I never did do that. I may have to get you to fix mine for me.
Well, I've never cut. I would, you know. I've never cut one. I got a couple questions I'll ask somebody, you know, and
I was a feller. One time he was a from the university. He was one of them agriculture majors.
Right.
He was out of helping these farmers, and he was explaining to these guys about how to do that procedure. Right. And how you had to, you know, kind of dope them up so it wouldn't hurt, and then you had to have certain sterile utensils and stuff to tie with, and stuff to bandage with. Right. This old farmer said, well, you know, we never did do it that way. The guy said, well, how did you do it? And he said, well, we always just took 2 bricks and we was done. And that's our agriculture professor. It just horrified him. He says, well, but don't it hurt? And the guy says, only if you get your thumbs in the way.
About the truth. Don't get your
Don't it hurt horribly? No, not unless you get your thumbs in the way.
Yeah. Well, we I mean, I've helped cut probably 500 hogs, you know, and you know, when they're young, just run them in a little wet.
These goats is not young anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you run them in a 40-gallon barrel. What we had a little 40-gallon barrel. We'd run them in, turned up, and work on them buggers, you know. Well, them goats you got, they'll go in a 50-gallon barrel and turn them up.
Well,
what you do, you take turpentine and mix it with lard and smear it on there, because the lard will stay. And of course, you need to do it in cool weather.
I'd think so. That turpentine will build a fire.
Not for that.
It'll build a fire by itself.
It's not likely to get as infected in cool weather as they are.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that turpentine.
No,
turpentine
you won't go find him a block of ice to set on.
That turpentine be so warm, it would be cruel and unusual to do it in hot weather.
He's going to get him a block of ice to set on. He probably wouldn't speak to you for a couple of months.
I bet he'd do some hollering for a few minutes. That turpentine, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'd think kerosene would be a little better.
Possibly. Well, mainly what it did, it had no medicinal effect. I guess it sterilized.
Yeah.
Plus it
kept the flies
away. Yeah. And,
well, you know, kerosene is not a bad ointment for a cut.
No, it's not. Well, it's not as good now that they made it K1 and made it so dry.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm talking about coal oil anyway.
Right, coal oil, yeah.
But it was actually kerosene all my life. It was coal oil originally.
Right, I know that. Well, you know, I told you I stuck a pitchfork through my foot one time.
Yeah.
I mean, went in the bottom of my foot and come out between the leaders.
I just love hearing about this. I just love hearing about this, especially since it's your foot.
Right, and they just carried me up there and stuck my foot in a bucket of kerosene, set me up there about 30 minutes. They won't know if I was going to sit there all day, if I was going to come back down there and go to work. Which I got up and walked right down on that foot, kept up by barefooted,
Well, it didn't hurt you, don't look like.
It didn't bother me one bit. Worst I reckon ever hurt my foot was I had a mule that stepped on my foot one time, and I couldn't get her to move. The harder I pushed on, the more she'd lean on me.
Yeah.
So finally I just stepped back and said, "Come up, girl. Get up, girl." And she took off.
My mother told about her mother. My grandma was out somewhere and crossed the fence. And she crossed the fence, she jumped down on the board with a nail in it, and it went through her shoe and out the top of her foot.
Right.
And she was out there by herself, tough old bird.
Right.
She was out there by herself and didn't have no way to get no help, and she's hooked to that board, and she managed to get it up and hook it in the fence, and then fell backwards and pulled that nail back out of her foot.
Right, yeah.
And went on home.
Right, no tetanus shot.
No, they didn't have none of them things back then.
Oh, yeah, I know. I've been right along there. People nowadays have absolutely no idea how to survive without every modern convenience known to man. And
I must have missed a few. I must have missed a few of them conveniences.
I missed an awful lot of them when I was a young man, and see, I can survive. There's all kinds of ways, different ways of doing things. Oh, I got one of the prettiest lamps today. It's a...
Is it Tiffany?
No, I don't know. It's a rose-colored base, and it's... we looked it up on the internet, and it's got a little bit of value to it. And it'd be worth a lot more if I had the original globe.
Yeah, that'd make a difference.
That original globe had a red design right around the top, to go with the bottom. And this is a magnificent old lamp, and I took it to the farm with me, and I used it out there.
Is it a kerosene lamp?
Kerosene lamp.
Oh.
Kerosene lamp. I guess, I don't know what they call that, depression glass. It's not carnival glass. It's probably, I think it's pre-depression glass. This was probably in the early 1900s when this was produced. And it's an intricate design. It's real nice. I should have brought it, and we should have showed a picture of it tonight.
Have you got anything that's especially pressing that you'd like to rant about? Anything going on that you know of?
Well, I get so tired of what they don't report in the news, radio news and television news. They are touting the fact that 440,000 people have signed up for the new Medicaid, which has nothing to do with Obamacare.
Yeah, I know it.
They fail to mention that they think as few as 15,000 people have signed up on the new Affordable Care Act.
Probably the oldest and the sickest.
Pardon?
Probably the oldest and the sickest.
Right, yeah. And 15,000, probably not over, what they say, 15,000, not over 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Signed up on it.
They've had, how many have they cut off of insurance? 5 million?
Oh, well, half the population of the United States is going to lose their insurance policy.
But they cut off.
25 million 125 million people are going to lose their insurance.
Well, I think they cut off 5 million policies, which could be a family of 4 or a family of 1. But it's more than 5 million. Anyway, it's a lost cause. You can never underestimate the stupidity of the American people, and that's me and you and the rest of them.
Right, that's true. Don't ever underestimate ignorance. Somebody told me that a long time ago. Ignorant people will plow you under the ground. That's what I was taught. A case in point. If you've ever dealt with a person that has no education and figured with him, he can't count, but his totals always come up in his favor. That's true. It always come up in his favor. It will never come up in your favor, you know, and because he can always attribute the fact that he's cheating you to his ignorance. You know, it's okay to cheat somebody out of ignorance, but it's not okay to outfigure somebody and make money off of them. I found out something else up here. If you buy stuff from somebody, say they come through and they got something they think's worth $50, and it's not worth 50 to you, it might be worth 30, so you can sell it and make $45 or $50, get $45, $50 out of it, which you have to do with all the other expense you have. Well, if they sell it to you for 30, somehow or another they're going to cheat you out of the $20 they felt like they ought to have. They're going to somehow get the money that they wanted out of it, whether you want to pay for it or not. They're going to cheat you out of the rest of the stuff. I've seen that happen time and time again.
Well, they get mad at you if they find out you made something off of it. If they want 50 and you give them 40 and then sell it for 50, they get mad at you for making $10.
Yeah, they're going to come and steal $10 worth off of you that you cheated them, you know. And I mean, I've seen that in so many people here in this area. That's just ingrained in them.
I think you'll find that anywhere you go.
Pardon?
I think you'll find that anywhere you go.
Not so much.
Well, you know, in some places they don't cheat you. They just put a gun to your head and take what you got.
Yeah, that's true. But you take here. I had somebody call me this morning early, wanting to sell me some tin.
That wasn't me.
Used tin. Okay. He had called me the day before, and he told me that he had 18 pieces, 14 foot long, 3 foot wide, 2 foot wide, 2 foot wide, and that he had 6 pieces that were 8 foot long. They're pretty good shape. It had all been screwed down. It was unscrewed. It wasn't no big nail holes or anything in it. And I told him that I would be glad to take a look at it. That was yesterday. And then this morning he calls me before I get my coffee down good, and I said, well, bring it by and I'll take a look at it. He said, well, now it's 14 foot long. I said, I know it's 14 foot long. You got 18 pieces of them, and you got 6 pieces 8 foot long. He said, oh, I done told you about it. I said, yeah, but I'm still going to have to look at it before I can buy it. He said, what time you going to be down at the store? I said, about 10 o'clock. Well, I got down here about 10 o'clock. Would you believe he just come by just a little bit ago, after 5 o'clock, still didn't have the tin with him. Said he had a flat tire on his trailer. I said, well, he says, now, I paid $150 for that tin. I said, well, that's the way it goes. You buy high and sell low around here. I said, I don't see how in the world people can survive doing that, but they do it all the time. But then if I buy it for $75, that's what he wants, he's going to find some way to screw me out of $75 and get his other $150 back. That's what he's wanting for it. That's roughly $4 a sheet.
I'd have to see it too.
Yeah, I would too. I sure would.
I don't believe I'd give that.
Well, I'd have to look at it. I told him I'd be glad to look at it. I couldn't guarantee him I was going to buy it. I mean, how can you guarantee somebody that you're going to buy something if you haven't seen it?
Well, I'll tell you what we need to do. Why don't we tell them about Dixie Concrete and Vitacare and Wilson's and Napa?
Did you know that Dixie Concrete has got stuff they can mix in their concrete where it will not freeze?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, okay. And what you gonna do, drink coffee?
No,
Huh?
I'm going to drink some tea.
How about that? We've got an Englishman with me. He's fixing himself a spot of tea. And so I'm a coffee man myself. I never will forget I went to the Penn plantation house, and I believe I told you this before, Mr. Penn had died. He's the one that started Lucky Strike cigarettes. He also
LSMFT? LSMFT?
Yeah. Lucky Strike cigarettes. He had a Lucky Strike baseball team that he sponsored, and he did a number of things. They built this humongous wooden plantation house. I mean, it is big. The La Follette house doesn't even compare to this. I mean, this thing probably has maybe close to 100 rooms in it. And
Boy, I'd hate to have to heat that sucker.
well, you ought to see the fireplace they had. Of course, he had about 5,000-acre plantation there, and he had plenty of people cutting wood. Now, he was after the slave era, but he still had a lot of people that lived on his plantation that sharecropped. And his wife, Mrs. Penn, was from the Con Edison people. Her family owned or started Con Edison up in New York. Very fine lady. Well, she invited me in for a cup of tea with her, you know, because she loved the University of North Carolina. She found out I graduated from there, so she had to talk to me. So I believe her maid's name was Letty, Lettia, and she asked if I wanted tea. I said, no, I'm a coffee person. She had Letty go in there and make me a pot of coffee. And I sat around and talked to her, and every time I got back to that area, I would come by and visit with her, and she loved it. And when she died, she left that entire plantation to the University of North Carolina. And they raised their tobacco there, put Lucky Strike cigarettes, and they did all other sort. And then they kind of, after he died, they turned it over to the University of North Carolina Agricultural Department through Cal College, State College, and they did all kind of different experiments over there.
You wasn't involved in them, was you?
No.
I thought maybe you might have been one of their favorite experiments.
No.
Well, anyway, Dixie Concrete can make the concrete set up in cold weather. They can take care of it.
And not crack, you know.
That's right.
Perform just exactly like it's supposed to perform. But they're good people. They run in them trucks. I didn't see too many of them today. Of course, I wasn't on the road very much. But
I met one this morning, I believe it was this morning.
Right.
562-5656, their phone number.
Right. Yeah,
And Wilson's Gas had better have done gone today.
I have. I was down at Wilson's today.
Right there in the middle of the road in Sawmill Holler.
Right down there where they're pumping them gas. And just, you know, I've tried to get him to go public with his little operation down there and let me buy some shares.
562-5444.
48 different flavors of propane. They all heat good.
Oh, that winter. You got that winter propane in there.
Right. I got one of them going up there for my chihuahuas.
Huh?
Yeah.
You got what? Oh, going a heater.
I got a propane heater going.
I thought maybe you was a broiling one.
No. For my Chihuahuas. You know, they're a little bit warm-natured anyhow. And, you know, the reason we don't have any industry here is because we did not have a real strong animal ordinance like they have down in Mexico.
We got one now. That's why we're so eat up with business and industry.
Right. I'll tell you what, we just got them fighting to get in here. We got an ordinance that's so strong, they even write citations if your goats get out.
Yeah, buddy. 562-5444 for
they
niggers.
shouldn't write citations when goats and things get out.
No, they'll just butcher them, have them for Thanksgiving.
It gives the people in the community a false sense of security. After they wrote that citation on my goats, people started sleeping with their doors unlocked, leaving stuff out in the yard, not worried about anything. Because if they got a sheriff on the ball so much that he can jump on a couple of goats outside the fence, they know everything else has got to be okay.
I'm sure that's right. I remember the good old days back when we used to leave the doors unlocked and leave our tools out and everything. That was when Martha Stewart was in the pen, but they let her out and we had to start locking stuff up again.
But you know, back then, you could go down to the neighborhood store or the grocery store or anything, and you didn't have a sheriff or a city policeman or a highway patrolman on your tail all the time.
Looks like they'd be wanting to get that guy that keeps passing you out there at the bridge.
They'll never get anybody like that, you know, which he really needs, not just him, but all those that do that, you know, because they never know when somebody might be crossing that road up there and thinking that
You mean they pass you inside the zone?
That's why they get off the bridge going home, going that way.
They're still inside that thing.
Yeah, I'm still in the 25-mile-an-hour zone, and it's a double yellow line. They're passing on a double yellow line.
Well, that 25 is silly, especially this time of year, but they'll write them guys up for that. I mean, if it's law, enforce it. If it ain't, let it go.
Right. But, I mean, that, you know, once I get out of that speed zone, I run a comparable speed to what they're running.
Yeah, once I get to that speed zone, I open it up wide open. Sometimes I'll go 30 or 35.
Sometimes my truck will get up 45, you know.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, we never saw a policeman or a sheriff. You might have one thief in the community, and pretty soon they took care of him, you know.
Yeah, everybody knew, back in the old days, everybody knew who would steal.
Right, yeah.
If you've got a truck that won't run but 30, you need to go to Napa and get you some new spark plugs.
Spark plugs or rotor?
Yeah.
Said that right.
Rotor?
Yeah. No
rotor button?
Might need a coil pack. They got it all, whatever you
need. May need a little gas treatment.
Yeah, got gas treatment. Yeah, they got some of that ether too if you need it to crank on this cold.
You know, I ain't understood that. You try to put one to sleep and it starts better. 562-9406 for Napa up there across the road from the IGA. They sell parts, all kinds of parts.
Right. I checked.
They ain't got no parts for my lawnmowers, but I bet they have yours.
Well, I don't know. You don't reckon they got a bell or anything we
well,
put
I guess
around
I could put a bell on my lawnmowers.
Right. That way, well, you don't put bells on cats so they can't sneak up on the birds.
Oh, Joe, my little cat Joe, she had a red bird down on the porch picking out the good parts yesterday. Pretty bird, but he won't be there anymore. You know, Joe has been an inside cat all her life, and I just recently started letting her go out after the ticks and fleas got away. She's about 2 or 3 years old, but she hadn't been outside but just a time or two after I got her caught and got her inside. Anyway, I've got this other old cat that's lived outside all his life, and he ain't no count for nothing. He never was. You can't get close to him, but every time you see him, he's a hollering for something to eat. Been that way all his life. I picked him up down to the lake.
Right.
I was going down there feeding all of them, and they all disappeared. But that one old cat, he's so sorry he didn't get out and get anything. He just hid under the porch and didn't come out and eat.
Right.
Well, anyway, Joe every day catches something. She gets him our little old, we called them field mice, or voles.
Field mice.
Yeah.
Ground squirrel.
Yeah, she's got something. I mean, them little old mice ain't got a chance. There's three laying there on the porch where she'd brought them up there and got the good parts and left the rest of them.
Right.
And then that was the day before yesterday. That was Sunday. There's three of them. I don't know when she caught them. And then yesterday she had that red bird. Well, that old cat that stayed outside, I ain't never seen him catch nothing. He don't do nothing but just look for a handout. I think he's a damn Democrat.
He probably is a Democrat. He thinks he's entitled to what you give him. He don't even appreciate it.
No,
he thinks
he
you're
don't.
entitled to it.
I'll tell you what, Joe, my cat hardly ever meows. She'd go for 6 months and never utter a sound. But that there old cat, as soon as he sees somebody, he starts meowing for something to eat. And he can have food on the table, and he'll meow for more to save up for next time.
Oh, it's going to get cold tonight. I don't reckon I need to go cover my goats up, do you? You going to cover yours up tonight or let them in the house?
I figured I'd bring them over to your house.
Oh, they'll find something. They'll get on top of the chicken house up there. I got them before they can't get on top of my house, you know.
Well, they climb on top of mine climbs on top of everything. They've been on top of the cars and the truck. They've been, if they can get on it before it falls over, they'll get up there. If they can't, they'll tear it down and getting up there.
Right.
If nothing else happens, they'll start rubbing their horns on it in the butt.
Right.
The first thing they do, though, is taste of it. And if they can't eat it, then they jump on top of it. And if they can't stand on it, then they start working on it.
I don't blame them. They're interesting animals, folks. If you've never had goats, you need to have yourself a couple of pygmy goats.
That's where the word capricious comes from, you know,
Right.
from goats. They capricious means foolishness and carrying on into something all the time,
Right, yeah.
and they are capricious. Of course, they
Right.
couldn't help it. That's what capricious means.
Right.
Goats. Anyway, if you get a serious heartache, and I don't mean somebody breaks your heart, but you know
No,
you
talking
need.
about no put on.
No, we're talking about you need, drink some rotten mater juice or something and need a ride to the hospital. Who you gonna call?
I'm gonna call Vital Care, like I always have.
What number?
I call 562-9370.
If you
Or
can't
if
remember
I couldn't
that,
think of it, I'd call you and ask you what the number was for 911.
and then you could call 911 and
Yeah.
request Vital
Somebody
Care.
give me the number to 911, I'd call it. And then tell them I want Vital Care.
Yeah.
And if they have one of them rolling ventilators, if I needed that, they could do like they do when they waterboard people. They could just strap me down and throw that ventilator on me.
I could give you a cup of coffee if you had a cup.
No, I don't want no cup of coffee.
You ain't getting my cup. I stole this from Tommy.
I'll tell you, I keep that coffee pot I have is a half gallon. And it never goes empty.
Well, that must mean you ain't a drinking none.
Yeah, I am too. I save all my old coffee. If I don't drink it, I pour it in a jug. Some of the best fertilizer you can use is coffee grounds or the coffee itself. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, you save your old coffee and pour it around your tomatoes or your beans or whatever it is. And
It's hard to get that instant coffee to.
well, yeah, if you use instant coffee, then what happens sometimes they'll come out too soon. You know,
Yeah.
the beans will come out before the blooms.
Yeah, I've got. I just go through different phases of coffee. I brew my coffee sometimes, and I make it in the microwave sometimes. I'm bad to make a pot of coffee, make a full pot, perk it, and get a cup of it and set the rest of it in the refrigerator and get the pot out tomorrow and warm the cup up and go till I run out.
Yeah.
I tell you something else good too. You can put enough coffee in there to make a good cup of coffee and just add another spoonful every day and another cup of water. By the time the week's down, you got a good cup of coffee.
That's the way my mother used to do it on that old wood stove.
Yeah.
Had a big old pot, about as big as the one I've got now, and she'd keep eating, adding that Louisiana with chicory.
Oh yeah, black stuff.
And you know, I don't say I know. Well, I never was much of a coffee person around my mama.
Yeah.
Cause man, that old stuff, and you about put the spoon in the cup, and it would stand up.
That chicory's got a whang to it, all right. Well, my daddy's stepmother made coffee, and he said he'd cut your throat. He just give him shivers thinking about it. And she's supposed to have made that coffee you could stand the spoon in. But now I'm gonna tell you about my daddy. He was real picky about his coffee. It had to be made just the way he wanted it.
Right.
And it didn't have enough coffee in it to call it coffee. I told him one time, I said, Pop, if you had a swimming pool full of this stuff and a newspaper laying on the bottom, you could sit on the bank and read the thing. It was so weak.
That's way.
And he drunk it so hot he couldn't taste it. I mean, he'd scald the hair off of a cow, and he'd drink it just a bubbling hot and no flavor to it.
My sister was the same way. She'd make coffee so thin we said you could read a newspaper to it. And when she made a sandwich, she made you, a chicken salad sandwich. Yeah. All she did was stain the bread. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And when she come to live with us, Elizabeth said, "You want a sandwich, Miss Francis?" Yeah, I probably could eat one. Elizabeth put about that much goodie in between the two pieces of bread. And my sister would look at that. She had never done that in her entire life. You know, she says, "I don't believe I could eat but about half of that sandwich."
Yeah. Well, I don't know about some of them there old ways, but I guess it's all right. Everybody's got their own tastes and opinions.
Right. Well, I cooked for myself. I cooked one of my favorite dishes the other night. I cooked some hoppin' johns. You know what hoppin' johns are. That's black-eyed peas and rice. And I cooked some salmon patties. And with onions and a little bit of cornmeal.
Left me out.
Huh?
Left me out.
Right, and it was delicious.
You know, I made a crock pot full of beans the other day.
Cornbread fritters to eat with it.
What kind of meal are you using?
You know, the brand name, I believe I use yellow cornmeal.
No.
And
I don't buy yellow meal.
Huh?
I don't buy yellow meal.
Yeah.
I got burnt out on yellow bread when I was in grade school.
Well,
They cooked out of that old commodity stuff.
right.
We had that old yellow cornbread.
Right. I love yellow grits.
A yellow cornbread with something else that ain't no count turns you against the yellow cornbread.
It was so flat, you know. It's about like you could bite into the plate that made it, put it on, and it would taste better. So, but I love yellow corn grits.
I don't reckon I've ever seen any.
Yeah, well, it's hard to find, and
that's because it's so popular. I guess they sold out.
You know, people just they don't know what's good anymore. You know, they used to eat that old jack meal. We eat jack mackerel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of stout.
You're talking about the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, the can's funnel shaped so you can get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've fixed jack mackerel. If you do the right thing with it, it ain't bad.
Yeah, I know that. Well, what I like, I like to take a can of salmon, a can of jack mackerel, and mix it, and that gives it just about the sharp flavor that I like.
I like sardines, but it's hard to get anybody that wants to help you eat them.
I eat sardines. I think I got 8 cans of sardines I just purchased. You know, I love sardines, and I'll drain the oil off of them, and I'll pour vinegar over them, apple cider vinegar, and I'll let them sit in that apple cider vinegar for 15, 20 minutes, you know. And
if you want to write this recipe down now.
And then I like a good sharp cheese to eat along with it.
Never tried that.
And I like a little serving of good coleslaw.
Yeah, I like coleslaw.
And I like some good whole wheat crackers, you know, your thin crackers.
Mm-hmm.
And that and a big old glass of milk.
I don't want fish and milk together.
That's what they told me all life, don't drink milk with fish. And I love it.
Well, I know old people used to think it poison you, and of course they got that from Moses. He said you ain't supposed to get fish and milk in the same community. But I just don't like them together. Ew.
I do. I love a big old glass of milk. And then as far as modern food is concerned, I love milk with pizza.
I never tried that either.
I love milk anyway.
Well, I like milk by itself, but ain't nothing beats cornbread with milk.
Well, I love cornbread.
In fact, I had some of that today. I had some cornbread that I had left over from Sunday that I had wrapped up in the refrigerator, and I got it out.
I love my cornbread with milk. I love cornbread and buttermilk.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I really like.
The only thing I can't think of anything that cornbread don't make better.
I can't either. It's really.
I tell you what, cornbread and gravy.
Southern delicacy.
Cornbread and gravy is good.
Well, I know that. I've eaten it a many a time.
And all my life, my mother would make chicken and dumplings,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd break up cornbread and put in it too.
Right.
And I got to think about it, I was making cornbread, I was going to make some chicken and dumplings one time, and I made my dumplings out of cornmeal instead of flour, and they're plumb good.
Right, yeah. Good, yeah. I've tried all different combinations because, you know, during the Second World War, you had to eat what you had. Even though you had tickets, you had food rationing tickets. And I still got a book of those. Because we never did.
In case they start rationing again?
We never did use all ours. You know, we got extra things because we were on the farm. We got extra gas and fuel oil and tires. We got stamps for tires that other people couldn't get. And my daddy, he would run a tire until it was absolutely worn out, you know. And
yeah, they used to put boots in tires.
Yeah, they put a boot in.
Put a tire inside of a tire.
Yeah, I know.
We about done, Bob. We better go.
Yeah, folks, we enjoyed being with you tonight. I don't know whether you
enjoyed us or not.
Learned anything, but we appreciate you being with us. And maybe tomorrow night you can give us a call, and we might talk about something you want to talk about.
Happy trails, folks.
See ya.